Shalom, shalom, call haloyim Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Kodash, and Shani Kabad, Gadawala Requab, Laquanyam Nawa, Washalayakim Nawa. That is the belongings to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom, Wabarakim, Labakaryam, Shalayasharala. That is peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. And as always, may a double portion of the Holy Spirit be put upon all the brothers that are still offering your bodies as a living sacrifice, pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity. So I just wanted to come and make another quick video concerning, of course, all the so-called civil unrest, riots, protests that have been happening throughout Babylon these past few days because of course, that death of George Floyd. But what I want to do is bring out the significance concerning the scriptures, because these are very, very exciting times. These are the times that we've been seeking and longing for many, many, many years. These are the times that we've been speaking about every time we get out there on the streets and we're lifting up our voice. We're warning the elect about these times to come and explaining through the Spirit, through the scriptures, how you can be saved or really just protected and delivered throughout these times. But nonetheless, I have 3 articles that I want to bring out, and I'm not going to read through all of them. We're just going to bring out maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs from each, and a tweet by a senator. We're going to look up a word and, of course, get into the scriptures. So first, this says 5,000 National Guard troops in 15 states and D.C. activated to help quell growing civil unrest. Because basically, what we're seeing is that the military / the government and the people are basically going at it. There's a uproars and riots of the people and the military and the people versus the military. It's basically an insurrection on both parts. So it says, as cities across the nation are burning after several days of rage over what prosecutors say was the murder of a handcuffed black man by Minneapolis police, about 5,000 National Guard troops in 15 states have been activated. Another 2,000 Guard members are prepared to be activated, I guess, if needed, according to April Cunningham, a National Guard Bureau spokeswoman. State and local law enforcement agencies remain responsible for security. The National Guard personnel assigned to these missions are trained, equipped, and prepared to assist law enforcement authorities with protecting lives and property of citizens in their state. So that's what they claim these 5,000 and then maybe 2,000 plus or more National Guard are supposed to be doing. They're prepared to assist the local law enforcement with protecting lives and property and citizens in their state. Now, let's look at the sequence of events, because this was yesterday when this article was written. And it's only been, I think, 3, 4 maybe consecutive days that these protests have been happening around Babylon right now. But, okay, this was written yesterday. Now look how things are quickly transpiring. This article says from CNN, Trump encourages governors to use aggressive tactics on protesters. So yeah, the National Guard is here to help and protect the citizens, blah, blah, blah. But what is Trump telling them to do? Let's read. President Trump told the nation's governors in a video teleconference on Monday to aggressively go after violent protesters after 3 nights of unrest, so 3 days of unrest in dozens of cities across the country. You have to dominate or you'll look like a bunch of jerks. You have to arrest and try people. The president told governors in a call from the basement White House Situation Room. In the conversation, which also included law enforcement and national security officials, Trump also emphasized it was his belief the violence is being brought on by forces from the radical left. We know that's not the case, even if it's happening sometimes. And Lord's will, what I'm planning to do, Lord's will, is make another video, is to make another video showing how most of these protests are really being started. But the point being here is that what? Because of all these protests, you have so-called civil unrest, and you have a lot of people out here rioting and looting, and it's becoming very, very violent. And it's only been 3 days, I guess 4 today technically, if it continues, which I'm sure it will. And Trump is basically saying, look, the National Guard is being deployed and it's no more peace. These people are violent. Something has to be done. And we must be violent back towards them in order for this to stop. So we're seeing the government / the military turn violent back on the people. And the reason why we're bringing this out is because it lines right up with biblical prophecy. Esau is going to come down, right? Revelation chapter 12, I was in 19. Revelation 12, verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And don't get it twisted. None of this is happening by accident. These elites know exactly what they're doing. And these protests, most of them, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, are being staged. What they're striving to do is create a controlled collapse so that they can bring in their solution. So they knew exactly what was going to happen because of this murder that happened. And that's why guns and bricks and certain things are being dropped off in certain cities, because these elites need civil unrest in order to bring in their solution, which will be the microchip, in order to stabilize the economy again. But the devil is coming down. Esau, Edom. Now, this is the book of 2nd Esdras 15, because we're seeing this play out exactly right now. However, it's still just the beginning of these few verses. So 2nd Esdras 15, starting at verse 14, says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Now keep in mind that this is an end time prophecy, meaning it's speaking about the days that we're seeing and living out presently, right now. So when it says swords, that's just old English, if you will, representing a killing instrument, a weapon, which of course today no one uses swords. The modern day killing instrument is a gun. But it also represents anything that's used for a weapon. A knife, a bat. I seen a video with a Edomite holding an axe. So anything. Verse 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Your modern day kings and princes represent your local police authorities and of course your government as well. There are videos with people looting police stations. Well, I'll say throwing rocks and stuff at police stations, but then looting and robbing and stealing the cars from different police stations. And then one dude over here in Baltimore, about 30 minutes away from where I'm at, he stole the, what is it called? The police horse. Now, I don't know how he stole the police horse, but he did. And of course, he filmed himself riding the police horse. That was sent in our group chat. But these people are not regarding, meaning they're not respecting at all the local authorities or the governments or nothing. It says, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because martial law is coming. For because of their pride, that city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Now we're seeing all that play out right now, and it's just the beginning of it. Verse 19 is what we're looking forward to see very, very, very soon. Verse 19 says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. We're not quite yet seeing people straight up rob their neighbors because of famine. You can still go to the grocery store and get some food. You can go to certain fast food spots and you can get takeout at certain other restaurants. So there's still food around. But when there's famine, we're going to see verse 19 start to play out. Now, let me jump back over here because once again, we saw that the National Guard is being deployed, 5,000, and what did it say, 15? I think actually Fox News reported that as of right now, it's like 27 states. But Trump is saying we have to turn around back on them, get aggressive. Now, all I did was type in National Guard, and this article popped up. From NBC, it says 1 dead in Louisville after police and National Guard return fire on crowd. So it's not a game out there. We've been talking about these days for years, warning people and telling you all this day is drawing nigh. And then on top of that, we've been giving you guys the solution, the answers about how to be protected in these days. And it's very simple. You have to believe in the names of Yahweh and Yahawashi. That is how you become protected. You believe and have faith in the Lord, and you do his will. Do your best to build up your spirit in these days. Pray, fast, read, get into the scriptures, right? Make videos if you're able to do so. And more so, if you're a capable-bodied male and you believe, or you claim you believe, then you should be out there on the streets every single weekend, standing and listening and offering up your reasonable and proper, holy and acceptable sacrifice unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because it's only 1 dead right now because of this return fire by the police and the National Guard. But it's going to be more and more very, very, very soon. The military is going to get busy. So now let's go to this tweet really quickly. This is some senator, probably a Republican. I don't know for what state, but it says by Tom Cotton. This is his tweet. He said the president should use the Insurrection Act to deploy active duty military forces to these cities to support local law enforcement and ensure this violence ends tonight. So these governors, if you will, I guess, and senators, they want Trump to deploy other military personnel in order for them to turn back violent against these protesters. Now, we're not going to watch this video because it basically sums up what he tweeted, to be honest. You know, it's his video about himself, right? And he reposted it. But it got me interested, so I looked up the Insurrection Act. So what is the Insurrection Act? And very plainly put, it says the Insurrection Act of 1807 is a United States federal law that governs the ability of the President of the United States to deploy military troops within the United States to put down lawlessness, insurrection, and rebellion. So just know, and this is just information for you to keep in your head, just know that if Trump one day decides to put into force this Insurrection Act of 1807, just know that the military is going to get violent. And that's basically him saying martial law. It's basically martial law. Long story short, there's so many other executive orders that can also be put into place to enact martial law. And this is basically one of them. The Insurrection Act, let me slow down, of 1807. So just know that if that happens, it's going to get seriously violent, and we're going to see a lot more dead bodies in these cities, and it's going to be a lot worse than the looting and the rioting and the so-called protests that are happening right now. And our job is not to get caught up in all this crap. Our job as the hopeful elect is just to watch prophecy take place, continue to be excited, and to keep doing the Lord's will and have faith that we're going to be protected by it, because we will. Now, last scripture, let me jump over one chapter, 2nd Ezra chapter 16, because eventually this insurrection is going to happen upon the men of the Lord. 2nd Ezra 16 verse 70 says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." And that insurrection is going to come by the hands of Esau Edom's military. You see right now the two-thirds and these other, we'll just say National Guard and local policemen, they're rioting and performing violence against one another. Cool. But we know that one day Esau Edom is going to come down upon the men of the Lord, and really all those that fear and that believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So that insurrection is going to be spun around, and it's going to be turned against us in order to remove us from the streets, in order to stop us from preaching this doctrine. And once again, that's a part of biblical prophecy. We just have to know that Esau is going to come down upon us specifically because he needs for us to stop preaching this doctrine in order for him to fully manifest his blessing. So verse 71 says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." And who is that? That's the men of the Lord plus the 1/3. "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known." It says, then, after all that happens, "then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire." Because all these protests and all these events that are taking place right now are basically going to be blamed on us. It's going to be blamed on us. We're going to be looked like as if we're the ones starting it, as if we're the bad guys. But as long as we remain faithful and trust that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to deliver us from these false accusations, it says, "Then it shall be known who are my chosen." Because we're going to know, you know what? I'm being falsely accused for some things I didn't do. And maybe they sentenced me to the death penalty, and then boom, the Lord delivered me by an angel, another brother, gave me powers, so on and so forth. There are many, many ways the Lord can deliver us. We don't need to know the details of how it's going to happen, but more so just believe that it will happen. So I just wanted to bring out all these, all these articles that tweet, and then we'll just look up the word insurrection on Edom Online. Insurrection as a noun, it says an uprising against civil authority. And that's taking place right now. Hopefully it just gets worse and worse, to be honest. We need that to happen in order for the kingdom of heaven to be established. America, aka Babylon the Great, must be destroyed. Eventually they're going to come against us, but fret not, fear not. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will protect the elect in these days to come. So with that being said, I do pray that the elect were edified. All glory, praise, and honor be to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.